The Zixar Dominion had conquered countless worlds, each falling before their superior technology and ruthless efficiency. Now, they stood among the ruins of humanity's once great civilization, their ships casting long shadows over crumbling skyscrapers and silent streets. Overlord Kaonen walked through the dust-covered remnants of a dead city, his armored boots crunching over shattered glass and rusted metal. He turned to his officers, a smirk playing across his reptilian features. So this is what terrified the galaxy. His voice dripped with amusement. Stories of human resilience, their so-called indomitable spirit, yet here we stand, and they are nothing but dust. His officers chuckled, their laughter echoing through the hollow remains of a world that had once teemed with life. They had destroyed humanity generations ago. Their warships had turned Earth's defenses to cinders. Their soldiers had marched across its continents, ensuring every last remnant of resistance was crushed. The idea that anything could remain was laughable. A nearby officer knelt beside a rusted human rifle, picking it up with disdain. Their weapons were primitive. Their tactics, crude. The fact that they lasted as long as they did is the only impressive thing about them. Kaonen nodded, gazing at the collapsed skyline. A testament to their stubbornness. Nothing more. He turned to his personal guard. Scan the ruins. I want trophies to commemorate our victory. Drones hovered over the skeletal remains of the city, their sensors sweeping over cracked roads and abandoned structures. Data flooded the command displays, showing power levels at absolute zero. Lifeless. Just as expected. And yet, one of the scouts hesitated, frowning at their readings. Overlord, I'm detecting residual energy signatures. Very faint, but... Kaonen waved a dismissive claw. A malfunction. This planet has been dead for decades. Another officer chuckled, kicking over a rusted helmet. Perhaps the ghosts of humanity still haunt this place. Laughter erupted through the comms. The idea was ridiculous. Ghosts? No. Humanity was gone. Erased. But deep beneath the ruins, something stirred. The Zixar soldiers moved through the ruins with the arrogance of conquerors, stepping over the bones of a species they had long since erased. Their scanners flickered with intermittent interference, but they paid it no mind. Nothing could be alive here. One of the officers led a team toward a collapsed building, its skeletal remains jutting toward the sky like broken fingers. The structure had once been important, perhaps a command center or military outpost. Now, it was just another relic of a lost species. A soldier brushed away debris from a rusted terminal, surprised when a faint glow pulsed beneath the dust. He tapped his communicator. Overlord, we found an active power source. Low energy, but operational. Kryn scoffed. A dying ember. Ignore it. But the soldier hesitated. The interface wasn't just flickering, it was responding. Words scrolled across the cracked screen, distorted but unmistakable. You shouldn't be here. A chill ran through the group. Another soldier snorted, unimpressed. More human theatrics. They always loved their dramatics. He reached forward and pressed a random key. The ground rumbled. Dust and debris cascaded from above as dormant systems groaned back to life. Lights flickered on in the distance, stretching across the ruins like veins reawakening. The soldiers stepped back, weapons raised, confusion and unease replacing their mockery. Kryn's communicator crackled. A different officer's voice, tense. Overlord. I think we triggered something. Across the city, powered-down machines twitched and whirred, screens flashing cryptic warnings in a language the aliens had dismissed as extinct. Then, a hologram flickered into existence in front of them. A human figure, its face calm, eyes sharp. It studied the intruders before offering something unexpected. A smirk. You really shouldn't have come. Kryn's throat tightened. This was impossible. The humans were gone. They had wiped them out, hadn't they? And yet, the ruins weren't abandoned. They were waiting. The city roared to life. Sirens howled through the ruins, their eerie wails echoing off shattered buildings. The ground beneath the Zixar forces trembled as ancient machinery shook off decades of dust and disuse. What had once been lifeless rubble was now an active war zone. Turrets unfolded from beneath collapsed structures, their targeting systems locking onto the intruders with cold precision. The first shots rang out before the aliens could react. Plasma fire ripped through the air, tearing into Zixar ranks with merciless accuracy. Soldiers scrambled for cover, their arrogance replaced by blind panic. KONN barked orders into his communicator. Fall back. Regroup at the dropships. But there was no response. His fleet, hovering above the ruins, had gone silent. Static hissed in his earpiece. His claws tightened around his weapon. This was not a mere automated defense system, this was something more. From the rubble, massive war machines emerged, their humanoid forms unmistakably human in design. Their armor was weathered, their plating cracked, but they moved with lethal purpose. Their optical sensors flared to life as they raised their weapons. One of the Zixar officers screamed as his own rifle was ripped from his grasp. Drones, long buried beneath the earth, had latched onto his armor, hacking into his systems. His suit powered down, leaving him vulnerable as human-controlled turrets lined up their next shots. KONN's scales bristled as a deep, artificial voice echoed through the ruins. Humanity endures. Above them, the sky flickered. KONN looked up, his breath catching as the clouds shimmered away like a hologram. Cloaked human warships, hidden for decades, now revealed themselves one by one. Their hulls were battered, their markings faded, but their weapons were online. This was never a graveyard. It was an ambush. And they had walked right into it. The first blasts came from above. Beams of searing energy lanced down from the human warships, carving through the Zixar fleet like paper. Ships that had once hovered in silent dominance were now spiraling toward the Earth, their hulls torn open, their crews screaming. On the ground, the chaos was absolute. Zixar warriors fired wildly, but their weapons were useless against an enemy that had spent decades preparing for this moment. Hacked drones turned on their former masters, war mechs crushed fleeing soldiers beneath metal feet, and automated defenses tore through retreating ranks with merciless efficiency. KONN staggered backward, his mind racing. This wasn't just human technology reactivating, this was a coordinated counterattack. Someone had been waiting. Someone had been watching. And now, the trap had sprung. His personal guards tried to drag him toward the last functional transport, but before they could reach it, the screens around them lit up again. The human hologram returned, its expression unreadable. You laughed at our ruins. The transport's engines stuttered, its systems hijacked. KONN turned, watching in horror as the remaining ships in his fleet lost control one by one. Their weapons turned inward, their thrusters cutting out, leaving them defenseless against the relentless assault. You thought we were gone. A shadow loomed over him. A war mech, towering and ancient, stepped forward, its arm cannons whirring as they locked onto him. He had no weapon strong enough, no ship fast enough. But humanity does not die. The last thing Overlord KONN saw was the city bathed in firelight, the ruins no longer silent, the dead no longer powerless. Then, the world went white.